I'm Andres. I work at the computer science department. I'm doing a PhD in computer construction. That's the name of the chair. I'm actually not a computer scientist. I'm a mathematician. Don't know that much about computer science either. And that's why we're obviously going to talk about cooking tonight. I don't care if it's kitchens or computers. In the end, it's the same problem. If I can use the solution to one, I can use the solution to the other. So that's why I have no problem and no moral problem in giving you this analogy tonight. So we're going to start talking about cooking and about kitchens, and I'm going to talk you through making the national dish of El Salvador. Of course, it's not a coincidence. I come from El Salvador. I grew up there, and the national dish, it's called pupusas. You can see them here, depicted there. It's like a corn tortilla, if you will, that's filled with bean and cheese. So you can also do it with pork, but today we're going to stay vegetarian. So just bean and cheese and beans. I'm going to walk you through how we make them. Maybe we'll see a connection to computers, and maybe we'll see a connection with floor tiles and computers as well. Right, so that's the topic of my talk tonight. What do kitchens, floor tiles, and modern computers have in common? Okay, so you see here the nice finished pupusas. I hope you can see from there, like a picture how they look. These are the ingredients. It's actually super simple. We just need corn dough, water and salt. Basically that, and then cheese and beans, because we're making cheese and bean pupusas tonight. So what's the recipe? How do we make pupusas? It's actually very simple. First you just take the salt, the water, and the flour, and you add them all together. Then you mix them so you make a dough out of those three. When you have the dough made, you make like a small bowl, and you make like a little volcano inside the bowl, and put the cheese and beans. So you have to mix the cheese and beans together. You can actually make like a paste out of the cheese and beans. You mix them together. Then you put that in the little volcano and close it up, and then you make like, it's actually you use this movement with your hands, and then you can throw it in the pan, fry it from one side, and then you just turn it around and fry it from the other.
Minutes is our drinking game board. Suppose minutes.
Minutes. Yeah. I put some timings here. 1 minute for adding all the things together. We'll take another minute to mix the dough together. Cheese and beans, 1 minute as well. And then we finally make a pupusa. I'll put a minute for that as well. Then we'll cook it for 4 minutes on one side and 4 minutes on the other side. I'm hungry. I'm making a pupusa for myself. So I'll take here 4 minutes plus 4 and 4. I'm sorry. Now I have to not say the word that much. But equals 12 minutes to make one. If I'm doing it myself, right? That's simple enough. But you know, pupusas, they're very tasty, but they're small. So usually with one you won't get full, so you may want to make more than one. So let's assume I'm doing 2 of those. I take 12 minutes to make one, and for the second one I'll take again 12 minutes. So it's 24 for two pupusas, right? That's kind of difficult, but that's the way it is. Because if I'm alone, that I can't just do one thing at once, right? But actually, pupusas also taste much better if you do them with other people, not alone. And I invite you to cook pupusas with me. Let's assume we're 6 people who want to make pupusas. So we actually have 6 tasks here, 6 different things that you have to do. So we can divide up the work. Everybody does one task, right? It's 12 minutes for one. And we're 6 people. That's 2 minutes for one pupusa, right? No, not really. So that's not the way things work, right? So how can I start cooking the pupusa if I haven't actually even mixed the dough together, right? So you cannot start cooking the pupusa before you finish the dough, and actually after that you have to form a pupusa. But what you can do is actually you can start adding salt and water together, and at the same time someone else mixes the cheese and the beans. But I cannot start cooking it there. And even if I could do all of these things independently of each other, I still need 4 minutes to cook on one side, right? So I'll never get a pupusa out in 2 minutes. We'll never get it, even if we're working together, the 6 of us, because that's just the way the problem works. We cannot get it faster than, we cannot make it cook. You cook half of it and I cook half of it, right? It doesn't work that way. If we do it all together, if we do the 12 of us, the 6 of us, everybody does a task. So first I start. I'm actually good at forming the pupusa, so I'll take that one. But you can start, for example, mixing like water and salt together, and you make a dough. right? And after everybody does a single task, so if we're doing one pupusa, we'll take 12 minutes. Actually, we're gonna take even longer because if I'm working on myself, I can just grab everything that I have here. But if you're gonna hand me the dough, you'll still have to walk over to where I am and give the dough to me. So it's gonna take a little bit longer. Let's say 12 seconds, just because the math adds up. So it's 6 tasks. So 5 times giving stuff to the next guy will take 13 minutes just to make one pupusa if we're working all 6 of us together. But that's if we're doing one. But I guess if we're eating the 6 of us, everybody wants a pupusa for themselves. So we'll do 6. The first one takes 12 minutes. But the second one, so after you added salt and water together, you just take 1 minute for that. But then, so you're waiting for 3 minutes, but then you start again, and you can mix. So actually the second pupusa is just going to take 4 minutes longer. Why 4 minutes longer? Because 4 it's the longest part, right? So everybody can be waiting, so only the guys at the pan have to be working all the time. The others can wait and just start so that I can pass my ingredients on time, right? So this is actually called a pipeline. That's the way Henry Ford did his cars. It's the same pipeline, and we can do the same for pupusas. So the second pupusa will take 4 minutes, and actually if we do 6, so the next 5 will each take 4 minutes, 5.5 minutes per pupusa, and that's about as fast as we can get if we're working with 6. Be a little bit more because you still have, so it's not 4 minutes, it's 4 minutes and 12 seconds because I still have to pass the things to the next guy. But we'll just ignore that. If we're cooking 6 people, we are not 6 times as fast. We're just 5.5 minutes. We're actually more than double as fast, not 6 times as much. And actually that's kind of like the takeaway message. If you're cooking, you can have as many cooks as you want, but you only get as fast as the recipe allows you to get. I promised today I would talk about computers a little bit. I've been talking about computers in my head actually, but now I guess most of you will also have an idea where I'm getting at. But I can actually tell you the translation. So of course the cooks tonight are the computers, actually the processing elements or processors, and the tasks, like the different tasks of the recipe, are the tasks that the computer wants to do. Since the 1960s, we've been making computers much faster, actually exponentially, but for the last 15 years, maybe or so, there's a lot of reasons why people cannot make computers go even faster. No, so they do, but not much, not at the same rate. But what people can still do is make the computer smaller, so you can fit actually 2 computers or 4 computers next to each other, where you would usually just fit 1. So I guess most of you actually have a smartphone. If you look at what the smartphone says, it's probably going to say it's a dual core, a quad core. What does that mean? It just means that you have 2 little computers, or 4, that are working together. So 4 cooks that are trying to cook your pupusas together. In this case, your pupusas might be the video you're watching. What we learned tonight is if I'm doing it, if I have 4 cores, doesn't mean that I'm going to be 4 times as fast. It depends on the recipe that I'm trying to use. You can even go further. So maybe you're particularly good at turning around the pupusas, and instead of using just a single pan, you'll take like here, like a big frying pan where you can do 20 at once, right? So that's actually what some computers do, like this graphic processing units, GPUs. Basically, it's like a big frying pan where I can do 20 pupusas at once. I couldn't do a pupusa and at the same time a cake, right? That doesn't work. But if I'm doing 20 pupusas, I can do them all at once. Basically, that's the way modern computers work, and that's the reason why it's actually getting harder to program. So actually, one of the biggest problems in modern computer science is how do I take a recipe for making something, right? Like this. How would I go about and divide it into small tasks so that I can let someone run it on the computer? And once I've divided it into small tasks, then I also have to decide, okay, who's going to do what? This problem in a special way is what's called the mapping problem. Just take it as it is. Like, are you going to fry and are you going to mix the dough together? Or are you going to do it the other way around? Maybe it makes sense that if you're frying from one side, you fry from the other side, because I don't have to spend time to give my proposal that's half finished on one side, give it to the guy on the next span, right? I'm wasting time there, so you can just turn it around and do the other side. So these kind of questions there's actually a lot of possibilities. Who's going to do what, and do I do this first and do that? Second is called the mapping problem in a special way. Now that you have the cooking and computers analogy, I promised you I would talk about floor tiles as well. If I know how much time everything takes, and for a computer it would be hard to know how much time it's going to take, but assuming I have the task and I know how much time they take, what I can do is just try out all the options, right? So what happens if I let you do these two things and let you do that, and I do this and that, right? I can just try it out, have an idea, okay, it's going to take that long. And then I try all the possibilities and just choose the best one. That's simple, right? But the problem is, the more possibilities there are, the more things I have to try out. And it's actually, also talking about that, it's exponentially many things that I have to try out. Let's forget about exactly how I would try them all out, but I don't want to try every single possibility out, because it doesn't make sense. It's too long, I would never finish trying everything out. Instead of doing that, that's where we come to floor tiles. And as I told you, as a mathematician, for me, floor tiles, computers, it's the same thing, right? If you see here, this chessboard, floor tiles here, assuming I would be building a house and I'm going to put a floor, actually we have also floor tiles here. So I would be putting the tiles on the floor. And then I come here and take these black and white ones, right? So what happens, I could have put it like I put it there, or I could put it like this. Which option do you guys think is better? It's the same, right? So it doesn't matter if I swap two black things, and it's still the same floor arrangement. I can screw it up, right? If I do this, then no one wants to live in a floor like that, right? But if I change to black ones, it doesn't matter. So this happens because the floor is actually very symmetric. It happens to be that in mathematics you can do a lot of tricks with symmetry. And what I do is basically I say, okay, you can do the same. So now think that the floor would also be computers, and the black tiles are people who are doing task A. So the black tiles are people who are mixing all the ingredients together, and the white tiles are people who are cooking in the pan. So it doesn't matter if I'm just cooking or mixing. It doesn't matter who does it, right? It just matters that I have people that are next to each other so that they can hand off the things. That's the same principle. If I have two different tasks in the computer, I can just, it doesn't matter if this and this guy are doing the same task. It doesn't matter if I give it task A to guy A and task B to guy B, or the other way around. And what we do is actually exploit that symmetry and try, just look at one time. Instead of all the options where I can swap the black tiles, I'll just ignore all the rest and I'll just look at one of them. And then I can find the solution much quicker. Find out, okay, what's the best way of cooking our pupusa tonight? This little guy here. So this little guy actually looks like this. Even worse, so I was too lazy to cut out more, but you would have like a whole row here. So this little guy, it's actually 16 computers per processors that are next to each other like that, and in this pattern. And we actually worked on how do we put some recipes there, which are a little bit more complicated than pupusa. Pupusa is actually quite easy for a computer, if they would have to do each of them. But you have recipes which have a little bit more steps, and then we've also used them on this little guy there.
All the processors are the same, or is it similar?
So,
because with the same architecture and the same everything,
yeah.
Or is it with different priorities?
Actually, absolutely, yeah. And actually, so this is what I was trying to make the point with this large plate. So sometimes you'll have processors that do different things, right? For example, if you have this one guy that has a big frying pan and can do all them together, then you want to make him fry the things, and not the other guy that only has a small frying pan. This and this guy actually don't. They are all the same, but in the future, computers will be like that you have a lot of different parts that are differently good at one task or the other. These phones usually have exactly that. It's called big little, so you have cores that use more battery. And actually, in a phone, it's super important. If you can use the small core that doesn't use that much energy, you're not going to eat all your battery. Then you want to take that. But if you're actually watching like a high definition video or whatever, it takes you actually to the deal. But let's take the example, right? If you're playing some game or something, then you really need all the power. Then you need the big guys. That's what kitchens, floor tiles, and modern computers have in common. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Thanks once again.